Good evening, guys. Welcome to Talking Pigskin. As always, I'm your host, Kishwar, and tonight we're going to talk about the AFC and NFC South. Now, let's start with the NFC South. The first team I would like to talk about is the New Orleans Saints. Now, of course, with Drew Brees coming back for another year and Alvin Kamara, the emerging player from last year, they're going to have a damn good offense once again. Of course, Mark Ingram will be suspended for the first 3 games, but with Michael Thomas and the rest of the receiving crew, along with Drew Brees, I think the offense will be just fine. My concern with the Saints has always been their defense. Now, they give up the amount of yardage they give up is in historic proportions. They can't seem to stop a nosebleed. I hope that changes. I believe Dennis Allen was a D coordinator last year. I believe he's returning as well. Let's see Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus Williams, who's probably still scarred from the playoff game when he let go of Stephon Diggs, can probably turn it around this season, and we'll see how they do. But the Saints are an emerging team. I just got to pause on that defense, so we'll see how they do. Next team we want to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons are always going to contend as long as Matty Ice is there. Sure, they just paid Julio Jones, and they got Matt Ryan, another weapon, and Calvin Ridley off the draft this year. They're going to be great on offense. Again, just like the Saints, they're going to have a great offense as well, especially with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman back in the running game. This team should be there at the end contending to represent the NFC for the Super Bowl. Of course, they're going to be hosting the Super Bowl this year. I have high hopes out of this Falcons offense. Let's see if they can deliver. That defense is not bad. Of course, they had hiccups here and there last year. They went out to LA and beat the Rams in the wildcard game, but they couldn't seem to get anything going against the Eagles and Nick Foles. But I expect that to change, and I have high hopes for Falcons this year. And the third team I'm going to talk about is the Carolina Panthers. I don't have a lot going on for Cam Newton this year. I believe he takes a step back again. Granted, they have DJ Moore on the outside now. I still don't see enough weapons on this offense for him to do anything. Of course, that defense is going to be solid. Luke Kuechly and the crew will be ready to go, but I just don't see Cam Newton taking a step forward this year. And the last but not least, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks. With Winston out the first few weeks, this team is going to be in a disarray. I don't see any leadership in this team whatsoever. Ryan Fitzpatrick will be starting the first few games, and Deshaun Jackson is still there. Mike Evans is still there, but I just don't see anything from this team. I think they're gonna have a very rough year, both offensively and defensively. So this is how I have the NFC South. I have the Atlanta Falcons finishing at 11-5, followed by the New Orleans Saints at 10-6, followed by the Carolina Panthers at 7-9, and I have Tampa Bay finishing at 3-13. Ooh, I think that's the harshest pick I gave this year. Now let's move on to AFC South, and the first team, of course, we're going to touch on is the Houston Texans. With Deshaun Watson back under center, this team will be ready to go once again. With DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Lamar Miller, and the rest of the offense, they have a solid offensive line as well. So I expect Watson to be protected this year, and hopefully he can pick up where he left out last year. And of course, defense, they have J.J. Watt and Jadeveon, who finally came into life last year. I expect him to continue that, and Texans will be great once again. The next team I want to discuss is the Tennessee Titans. We have Marcus Mariota going into his third year, and he is progressing at a very high level, and I'm very happy for him. I remember when he got drafted into Tennessee a couple of years ago, I was hoping he would fall to the Jets, but that didn't happen. But it was very good to see him flourish under the system. Mike Vrabel will be taking over that team, and I expect him to turn the defense around. Sure, they don't have a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball, but I expect them to have a very good team this year, and they're going to have a good season as well. Moving on to the third team here in the division, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, I am not buying into the hype. I believe that Jacksonville was a one-year wonder. They had a great season defensively, but this offense lost Allen Robinson, lost Allen Hurts, and now they lost Marquise Lee. I don't know any receivers on that team except for Keelan Cole and the tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Sure, Leonard Fournette is still there, but I'm not trusting Blake Bortles. Unless the Jaguars significantly improve their quarterback position, I don't see this team making any noise. Sure, Ramsey, Calais Campbell, A.J. Bouye, and Telvin Smith and the crew will be ready to go each week, but that defense is not going to be able to win a lot of games this year only because that offense can't keep up. So sorry, Jacksonville fans, but I'm just not buying the hype. And the last team I have is the Indianapolis Colts. Granted, if Andrew Luck stays healthy, this team can potentially win up to 5 games and improve from how horrid they were last year. But I just don't, think Andrew Luck can play a full season as of yet. Sure, he's the healthiest as he's ever been, and they have a better line, but their better line is still not good enough for an NFL offensive line. So hopefully, they prove everyone wrong and keep one of the best quarterbacks of our time healthy. But if that's not the case, they're not going to go far. That defensive unit has a bunch of nobodies in, so they can't stop anyone either. So we'll see how they turn out. So this is how I have the AFC South. I have the Houston Texans finishing at 10-6, followed by Tennessee Titans at 9-7, followed by the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7-9, and then last, the Indianapolis Colts at 5-11. So let me know what you think of these picks. Next week, we'll finally finish the preview with AFC and NFC East, my favorite division, the AFC East, because the New York Jets is always going to be there, right? So stay tuned for that. Also, I'll be doing my Week 1 videos next week from Dallas, outside of AT&T Stadium. I'm very excited about that, so stay tuned for that as well. And always, please like, subscribe, pass this along, and let me know what you think of these picks, and I can't wait to see you next week.